Hello from Barcelona, where we are today. And today is all about statistical graphics, which are a fun part of statistics. I think most people, even those who don't like statistics, uh, still like this part of the course. Let's take a look at Excel. You are going to do a lot with Excel in this course with the data functions. So all you need to do, here is my data set that has pre and post test scores and item scores of schools that we'll talk about a lot, two reservation schools. I want to know about grade level. So I'm going to click here on grade, and then I'm going to click where it says data right there. And see all this stuff comes up. And then I'm going to pick analyze data. So we clicked on data right there. We pick analyze data, and all this cool stuff shows up. So this is a pivot table. This is something you're going to see a lot, right? Really, it's just a frequency distribution right here. So I'm going to click insert pivot table, and it comes up in a new sheet. I'm going to click on everything here except the grand total. So I've got grade, count of grade, and then the grades and the number of people in each. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to pick insert chart. And then for the chart type, I'm going to pick pie. That's it. And there's my pie chart. Well, I might like this to be a little more legible. Click here, go to home, and just pick the size of the font I want. I would like to have some labels in here. So this, you could look at this. Again, I could make the click. I clicked on the legend. I clicked up here to make the font larger. But I personally think it would be easier if it showed the actual percentages. So I'm going to right click there on the chart and I'm going to put add data labels. And then they're in there, but they're really small, right? So I'll go back to home and I'm going to make them bigger. But I think they're still kind of hard to read. So I'm going to right click on them again where it says format data labels. I want them on the outside. And instead of value, I want percentage. So you could show value and percentage, but I just want percentage. And I'd kind of like to change the title too. So I'm just going to click in there, levels of students. There's my pie chart. I've got fourth, sixth, fifth, and third, as you can see with my one little third grader. And I will go over step by step in the PowerPoint how to do that, but now you see it. So now that you've seen how to make a pie chart, let's go through a few of my favorite things, or my favorite graphs. This video, we're going to cover three basic chart or graph types, pie charts, bar charts, and dot plots. Our data, as I said, are from two reservation schools, and students were either in an intervention or control group, and we'll use these data for the next several examples. Every good statistical study, every study I do begins with trying to learn about the data, starting with the subjects. Sometimes you find some very extreme values that might skew your data, or you might find that two groups, say the intervention control group, were very different before your study started. Whatever you're looking for, whatever your study is, it's always a good idea to just kind of get a feel for the data before you do anything else. Now here we are, our hero, the pie chart that we saw how to make. Looking at it right away, I can see that most of the students in this study were in the fourth grade. The next larger proportion were in the sixth grade and only one in the third grade. So at this point, I might be thinking about whether I want to keep this third grader in my study or not. But yeah, I could tell that each slice is proportional to the percentages of choices in the category. I got a good look at the data. Now let's move on. The easy way to make the pie chart in Excel, as you saw, select the column, click data, then analyze data, click insert pivot table, select everything in the pivot table except the row that says grand total, click Insert, then Chart, and then Pie. So that's what we had just done. Some options, you can click on the chart to add data labels. I highly recommend that. You can click on a label to format data labels. You can make them bigger by in home making the font size bigger. You can pick value or percentage. You can pick both, but I wouldn't. I think it's kind of too must on a chart. You can have the labels inside the pie or outside. Pie charts are bad for comparing two factors. People aren't very good at kind of eyeballing it and saying, oh, this percentage is more than that percentage. They are good if you have a small number of categories. They're good when you have a small number of people, if you're going to be showing the frequency. It's easy if I have 20 people, if I see that five are in fifth grade and five are in sixth grade and 10 are in seventh grade. If you have 9,082 people, maybe it's not the best choice. Certainly, if you have a large number of people, you want to use percentages instead of frequencies. Now here's a bar chart. I have no idea why there are so many more girls in this state than boys. My only guess, which is just a guess, would be that this data set includes pre and post tests. So you have to completed both the pre-test and the post-test. And maybe boys have lower attendance and are more likely to miss 1 of 2 days. But really, I have no idea. But it's an interesting fact, isn't it? Bar charts can be useful for comparing two groups. Remember I said that pie charts weren't? I highly recommend in this case you doing it by percentage. So in this case, we see that the control group has 40% females, and the intervention group, it's over 50%. I don't know if that really matters, but they're not hugely different, but 40%, and I think this was 57%, that's something. So it does give me a little more insight into my groups. Both pie charts and bar charts are effective for qualitative data. Remember we talked about qualitative data? Bar charts are better when there are more than just a few categories. They're better for comparing across variables. Dot plots, you put a dot for each data point. It's a nice, not the best, but a nice graphical method for displaying the shape of a distribution. They're most useful for small data sets. I mean, I can't imagine if I had 5,000 or even 500 points putting one down for every value. Here's an example from a small number of students who were asked their average hours of sleep per night. I don't have any examples from the student data set because I didn't feel like making 82 dots. But I do think dots are really useful for your teaching statistics to students in grades K through 8 because they a lot of times benefit from more concrete demonstrations so they can plot out each number individually. So each number on here is there were 3 students who said they sleep 6 hours a night, one that sleeps 9 hours a night, and so on. The other reason that it's a good thing for if you're working with students, younger students, is they don't need to learn Excel or use a computer. They can just pull out a piece of paper. In fact, you could even do this for one of the charts for your first assignment if you wanted to. So let's look at making a bar chart with Excel. As you'll see yourself doing a whole bunch of times now, you're going to go to Data, click on Data. So click on Gender, go over here where it says Analyze Data, click on that, and it gives me a pivot table. And pivot table, so we're going to go and click Insert Pivot Table, just like we did before. Just like we did before, we're going to click Gender, Count of Gender, and Insert Chart. And we'll pick a column chart. And there we go. There's your bar chart. Female, male. As before, you can double click on the title to change it. You can click on Home, increase the font size. And there you go. That is how easy it is to create a bar chart. But we're not done yet. All right, so male and female, that's good. There's no real order to that. Let's say I wanted to also do a bar chart for grade. So I'm going to click Grade, Data, Analyze Data, and Insert Pivot Table. So far, so good. And I click on Grade, Count of Grade. I go and I pick Insert Chart column, and it gives me a chart But if you look at this, it's fourth, sixth, fifth, third grade. I don't really like that. So I want it in order of grade. What I'm going to do, copy these, and I'm going to pick paste special. It's only going to paste the values. And now I can move them. I want third grade to be here, fourth, fifth, third, fourth, sixth grade down here. Of course, if they were numbered 3, 4, 5, then I could have just sorted them, but they weren't. So now I've got grade. And now that they're in order, I'm going to click on it again. And I'm going to go to insert column, insert chart. I'm going to go to insert chart, pick column again. And now I have it in order by grade. And again, I can change this to distribution by grade just by clicking on the title and typing in whatever I want. So that is creating a bar chart in Excel. Pretty easy, huh?